I know you're not used to seeing me here, but I think you're going to enjoy this. This is PrintFixFriday, where we fix your machines, some of which actually come into the shop. We've got one of our own machines to fix, and we've got a client's machine to fix. So come along for, I think, the 255th episode of PrintFixFriday, where we help you get your printers back to printing with purpose. Goal here is to get the INDX machine looking pretty because it has an event coming up in just a couple of days. A lot of you might remember the live stream that we did. If not, we'll card to it so you can take a look. But as you can see, we only have 3 of the dock holders switched to the orange. These other ones are still on the black, and I want to change that because 1, I want it all to look the same. 2, I happen to think the orange looks better. And 3, I actually know the orange is a better 3D print, so we're gonna get moving on this. First things first, let's turn off the power so I don't get yelled at. What we gotta do now is go ahead and remove all of the ones that aren't the orange. That way we can go ahead and make them better. We're gonna start with this one down here because I'm fairly certain that this one is messed up. For those that don't know, this is INDX. INDX is a induction system for the Core 1 Plus and other machines as well via the Bondtech dev kit. It is a really, really cool machine. Unfortunately, it has had a bit of community drama, we could say, and if you're interested to learn more about that, we've got plenty of videos. If you are like me and want to do some mods, want to make it look better, and quite frankly, want to make the part itself stronger, you will need your T10, and you'll need to get this part out. We'll safely remove the screws and the springs, set them off to the side, pop out the magnet, and now we need to use an ultrasonic cutter and get into this block. Now you can use any tool, but I happen to have this ultrasonic cutter that we are testing from Sonic Max. And quite frankly, this is a smoke 'em if you got 'em thing. In theory, we can use a different pair of tools to go ahead, pry out the magnet. I gotta do that a bunch more times, so let's get to it. An important thing here is that you get the magnetic polarity correct. INDX, the pins here on INDX are actually magnets. And so we need to make sure the magnetic polarity is correct for when you do replace it into the dock. The dock sits on the machine like that. So the magnets will need to go in just like that. To do this, I use a wide array of custom developed tools just for this one application. A rubber mallet, and the T10. Is this the perfect way to do it? No, but it works. Beautiful. All right, they're in there. So this is the big challenge of INDX. To do this, it requires tapping the bolts. All right, we got it started. We're gonna use the electric screwdriver to kind of get us home here. You probably don't need to do this on reprinted ones, especially if you're using better, stronger settings, but better to have it not need it, right? I think pre-tapping is going to help out a little bit, so we will go ahead and do it on at least a few of them. It looks like it's not that big of a deal. If I do mess things up, we'll go to heat sets. Okay, once we got the screw in, we now have to grab the magnet. The magnet goes in from the back, which is definitely that side, because I am dumb, and 1 spring there, 1 spring there, and another spring right there. And then we can get it all set back on the machine. And then because the holes are more or less threaded, at this point, all we should have to do, grab an electric screwdriver. We're gonna do that on all the other ones. I do think this whole system is really friggin' cool. I understand it's had some challenges at start, but I still think this is friggin' cool. I do hope that Bondtech gets their communication act together. I think that would be huge. And so part of it required me to actually pull off the cooling fan. And it's like, well, if you have to do that, does it really matter? And I reiterated to myself, no, it doesn't. Okay, we got that done. Gonna go to control, calibration and test. We're gonna go ahead and do dock calibration. Printer has 8 docks. We're gonna calibrate them all. Better to do it and not need it than find out later you probably should have done it like an idiot. I'm gonna follow what the directions tell me and gonna do our thing. And just so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here, I'm just getting it aligned. I'm gonna hold it in place and I'm gonna hit the button. Okay, motors are now locked. Looks good to me. I'm just gonna go back and it's gonna do its little homing sequence. And we're just gonna do this over and over again.
A few moments later.
And we're done. We've got it fully calibrated. Everything is happy. No issues at all. Machine is ready to go. So we can get this one off the healing bench and get our next one in there. All right, Index is done. Let's swap it out for the Bambu and we'll get going there because that one's gonna be interesting. All right, we got the Bambu here. Let's get her plugged in. AMS is already hooked up, so we don't gotta worry about that. We've got some PETG in there, which is fine. Oh, machine was powered on, so it's just gonna start booting. Let's see what happens. Nozzle temperature is abnormal. Well, that's not good. Yeah, well, that's probably why your nozzle temperature is abnormal. We're gonna get the AMS off the top, get it out of the way. We're gonna work on this machine from the top down. I was told that they got the Blob of Doom, and they also have some PTFE tubes in the AMS that are damaged. So customer states should be an easy fix. Let's see if they're right. I'm more concerned about the hot end because if we can't get that working, I've got spare hot ends for Bambus, so like this isn't that big of a deal. It's more so just a pain in the keister. Okay, first off, this print fan goes back there. Don't Uncle Jesse the door. That's a pretty serious blob you got there. Pretty upset. The issue is that I don't think it's gonna actually let us heat up the nozzle, but I'm gonna try. Nope, it's not gonna let us heat up the nozzle. Well, that checks out. So most likely it cannibalized one of the two things. So what we need to do is we need to go get another hot end for it, which hilariously I have in stock. And that's because I just put a Pika on my personal Bambu, but we want to go ahead and remove the offending hot end fan assembly, just kind of get everything. My assumption is we can probably save this and it will just need a new heater, but we'll find out. I'm gonna likely have to run in and grab some parts. The customer stated that it shouldn't need anything other than new PTFE, but oh, tell me you're still loaded. Yep, it's still loaded. All right, so now we have our Bambu Blob of Doom. Most likely when they were attempting to fix this, they just made it worse. I went into the proverbial parts bin. I got a brand new hot end, new parts. Unfortunately, I didn't have a fresh heater or thermistor, so this E3D Obsidian high flow, we're using your parts for today. We'll order in the right parts, but this will let us kind of verify that everything works the way that it should. Slide off the cap, pop up and off that part. We can now delicately, when dealing with anything hardened, you gotta be careful. You don't wanna leave heat on it too long. You wanna give it enough heat that it kind of loosens up whatever grip it's got in there, but we don't wanna heat it up so long that it doesn't come out, you know? Zoom in a bit so you guys can see. Yow! Oh, it's hot. I mean, I should have known that, but oh my God, that's hot. Holy crap. Very hot. And if it's not coming out with this, I don't think she's gonna come out. God, that hurt. So let's go ahead and get this blob off. I don't think we're gonna be able to recover most of this, but we're gonna try. I'm gonna do something that you should never do. I'm gonna deliberately force the machine into thermal runaway, but I'm gonna do it in a reasonably safe way. So right now, the machine does not know what temperature it's at. So we're gonna give it a hot end that has a functioning thermistor. So what's gonna happen is the machine's gonna try to heat itself. It's not gonna work. It's gonna get angry, but that's all okay. Because what we're gonna end up doing here is we're gonna end up slowly torching the hot end so the machine's heater kind of works with it. Again, I'm a trained professional. Please don't do this. You have to be somewhat smart about what you're doing or you can really hurt things. Machine says, okay, so that'll work. Hot end says 58C. We want to go to 250. As it's doing that, we're going to slowly have to raise this temperature or it's going to get really upset with us and thermally run away. But at the same time, that's gonna give us enough heat. We can now set it to 0 Celsius and turn it off before it thermally runs away on itself. And we can safely get the blob off the hot end, which we just did. Look at that, it worked. I think we can confidently say that that's a lot easier to work on than where it was. Something that I'm already noticing on this machine, that is not straight. I think they tried to unscrew something. Right now, we just need to let the machine come back down to temp, and this just kind of lets the heat sink burn off that excess heat. But blob removal worked perfectly. Once again, I recognize this isn't the smart way to do it, but it's the way to do it that I know works. Well, the hot end definitely is bent. You can see that. No matter what we do, we're gonna have to replace it. Let's go ahead and work to get all the pieces off of it. That is part and parcel of what we see with Bambus from time to time, where they just get angry and they throw whatever they're working right into the build plate. We got that metal part off. That was giving us problems. From here, the heater should, in theory, just up and out. Wonderful. Now we have, oh yeah, see, there's your problem. And that's why you don't have a temperature sensor. The wire's broken. I'm glad that I have spare parts. So this is my Obsidian high flow 0.4 millimeter. It does look a little bent, doesn't it? I think that's just the sock. We're gonna put this in and we're gonna make sure that everything else runs on the machine. I will end up replacing it with stock parts off camera, because you guys don't need to see me do that. That's like something, if you own a Bambu, you kind of already know how to do that. So 2 screws, get these together. That's on there. We're good to go. It's okay. All right, another day, another print. You say that, but the only reason you're working is because I had parts. Then we gotta get the AMS opened up and take a look at the tubes. I can definitely see that quite a few of these need new tubes. It's no big deal once you get to the AMS underneath. To get into this, we're gonna need to remove, I think it's just these 2. Let's see if they've already done it. Sometimes people do this and they don't put the screws back in. And I think that's what they did here. And to be clear, that's what I would do. If you ever have to open up your AMS, don't put the screws back in. They're not needed. Then it makes it a lot, oh, they didn't do it. Oh my gosh, it makes it so much easier to get this thing out and work on it. A+ to the previous owner. The machine is gonna get angry at us as soon as we disconnect it, so we'll shut off the machine. We're going to flip around the AMS, and we are going to immediately disconnect the 2 wires inside of it. That will give us access to the AMS itself without this whole casing. We're gonna put our thing down, flip it, and reverse it because Missy Elliott, obviously. This is the one thing I did remember, which is my PTFE tubing. When you're working on projects like this, and especially if you own a 3D printer in general, have spare PTFE tubing. It's really cheap, buy it in bulk. Similar to normal push-to-connect fittings, we need to press it in, then pull it out, press it in, then pull it out. That one was getting nice and close. You can see where it's translucent right there. That is where it was close to pulling through. This one is split. Oh, getting this one out's gonna suck though. Looks like they tried and they failed. I can see some marks of where somebody used a tool on it. So we're also gonna use a tool, but we're gonna use one of the Bambu hex keys here to press down. You can see through it. That will make it way more apparent on camera that I can slide my Allen key through it. This just happens in AMSs over time. This is normal. We expect this. This is a wear item. They did provide us with some PTFE. Like, look at that. On the top down, that is insane. I haven't cut it yet, so I don't know if maybe this is just the way that it was, you know, cut. So let's cut it together. Nope, that's just, wow. That is some really bad PTFE. This would absolutely ruin your day if you were trying to put this on your Bambu. I'm gonna do them a favor. I'm gonna get rid of it. In comparison, you can see that's centered, circular, and all of that jazz. So because I cut the ends, you can see that they're a little smushed. We're going to grab a pair of needle nose here and we're just gonna open her right back up. And then you might say, Grant, how do you make sure that everything's right? You put it all back together and you load and unload filament from every single section and you see, does it work or not? If it works, then you did it right. If it doesn't work, you gotta pull it all back out. And that's why I don't recommend you put the screws back in. Cause like, if you need to take it back apart, it's so much easier to do when it's just slowly removing stuff, you know? All right, fine. It wants you to do it this way. It's not my preferred way of doing it. It is much easier to do it the other way. There's a little push to connect fitting there that you have to get into place. Boom, it's locked in. We grab the push to connect from the back of the machine, shove it in there. Okay, we did it. Now we just have to do the load and unload command for each of the spools. Once we have that, we'll know if we did it right. I wanna know from you guys, what do you think about this? Is this a very typical print failure that you would expect to see? I mean, that's a pretty serious blob of doom. But if you are in the local Tampa Bay area or you want to ship us a printer and you want to get some help, we will help you out and we'll film it for the channel, pff@3dmusketeers.com. Reach out to us and we will get you sorted. I want to give a huge thank you to the channel members whose names list is right next to me at the $5 tier and higher. Thank you for what you all do in making videos like this possible. And I guess thanks to Bambu for making machines that are just difficult enough to repair that most people don't want to tackle it themselves. And I end up breaking parts myself. So enjoy my credit card. But if you do want to come hang out in our private Discord server where you've seen these parts, both the Prusa and the Bambu, before they showed up on video, $10 tier and higher gets you that, and you get your name and lights next to me as well. That is all we have for you all today. Let me know again down in the comments what you thought. I think the Prusa looks better with the orange, but that's just me. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. What's your craziest Bambu fail? As always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Ow, I stabbed myself. Son of a bitch. That didn't feel great, and I'm bleeding.